The Rio Olympics starts at the beginning of August. The cost in staging the Olympics runs into billions of dollars, but can Brazil afford to do it, and will the economy benefit from the infrastructure build in the years following the event? Leroy Lawrence is CEO of Quadron Capital, who joins us now with some more on the Brazilian economy. It's good to talk to you. It's a very topical event at the moment, and Brazil, part of the emerging market scene, is a big mover within that big bracket. What's your view of the Brazilian economy first?
Well, it's very much a roller coaster the last 18 months. We saw a 4% increase in GDP before the last president came in, Dilma Rousseff. However, we've seen a 3.8% decrease, and this year we're expecting a 3% decrease again. So we're seeing volatility, which in an emerging market you expect. If you like risk, which is normally attached to emerging markets, that's also fine. There's a political element to that as well, which is the whole Dilma Rousseff impeachment, which is possibly going to happen by August after she has been suspended since the beginning of the year. But what that means if you're an investor looking for great returns is that there is very likely to be a new government in place of her more left-leaning government. So that could be a very good impetus for growth in Brazil.
So if you have a risk exposure, if you like a bit of risk, this is a tempting prospect, as you think?
Definitely. I mean, if you're looking at the other BRIC nations, you have Russia as well, which has political issues with Europe. But you're always looking for something that's definitely going to change in the short run, and this change of government is that impetus.
You spoke a little bit there about the economy and the way it's growing. What is behind the Brazilian economy? What's its growth made up of?
It has a quite prosperous food export business, which is why they was taking control of their the currency. Oil, it has enough oil to supply for itself, which is key for any nation. It's not looking to run out anytime soon, but it also has enough to export without being massively reliant on exporting oil as well. So those are some of the key parts from a commodities point of view in regards to the economy. That in April there was also a surplus of, I believe, $2.8 billion as well, which is very good for a country that's in a massive recession for 18 months as well. So, I mean, don't get it wrong, Brazil has lots and lots of growth potential from its raw infrastructure, but whilst trying to increase their own national GDP, they're also trying to build a nation. It has a massive lack of infrastructure. For a nation that has as much manpower as North America, it's lacking in roads, the fight against corruption and things like that. So they have a lot of money to spend, and with the leftist government, they're investing by higher taxes. They have a corporation tax which is currently twice the rate of here in the UK. So that doesn't make everyone happy and doesn't inspire everyone to work harder either. What
about the background to this? I mean, at Quadron Capital, I know that you specialise in FX markets. What about the Brazilian real? When we talk about emerging markets, the dollar is such an important factor about the way in which emerging markets are going. Yeah. What about the real, and how is that trading, and how much of the dollar is an influence there on the way the Brazilian real is traded?
So the real has reached its peak around the beginning of this year. What we've seen is that not just the real, but every currency pegged to the US dollar is being a little bit tepid because you have the US Fed rate hike, which is impending. So no one wants to do too much until that happens. However, Brexit, funnily enough, like everything else, has put that to the back of the queue at the moment. So once we get past the Brexit, or the Brexit or Remain vote comes to an end, we shall see, I think, the Fed in the US increase their interest rates, and then you'll see changes in the real. But you've also got a bit of call it meddling or influence coming from the central bank in Brazil as well, who are trying to make sure that their exports, at least, are very appealing to buyers from abroad, and to do that they have to dump swaps on the markets to keep the real from rallying too high too quickly.
So in sum, what's the word about Brazil?
If you like risk, invest in Brazil. That's what I'd say. It's hit a low. It's looking to hopefully bounce back, and this could be the time to do so.
Good. Okay, good to talk to you. Thanks indeed for coming in. Leroy Lawrence from Quadron Capital.